welcome to Romantic Wednesdays with Poetry. I'm Alisa Agnes, your host, and I believe it's time to get real and spill some tea or coffee. So today we're starting a totally new cycle. It's the 10th one, which is called The Broken Chapter. So today you will learn more about this cycle, but there's not much to say, to be honest, because you probably already know everything about this anyway. So I will mainly focus on next two poems today, and they are called How Could You? And well, the second title is, just a poem which is untitled. It's written in my book with just 3 stars. So yep, and this poem is actually the only such untitled poem in my poetry, and I usually really like giving titles to my works, but this one situation was a very special kind of situation, and that's why I decided to leave it untitled, because sometimes there's simply nothing more that we can say, I guess. So right now I will read you the first poem, which is called How Could You, and later I will tell you a few words about this. So that's How Could You. Sometimes all I can think about is, how could you? How could you do this? How could you be so rude? How could you break a promise? How could you be so cruel? How could you love me and break me like this? So yep, that's How Could You, and I also need to say that I really like how this poem sounds in English and in Polish, and they are not totally the same, but I really like these both versions. So it's the opener to the 10th cycle, which is called The Broken Chapter, and it's called like that because it's simply the continuation of Traitorous Romeo, and that cycle was the very first moment when you find out that Romeo is unfaithful to Juliet, and the broken chapter is the continuation of this story of being betrayed. And here we already kinda know how it feels for because it's been happening for a while, and those very first emotions are kind of still here, but you got used to the situation. And in such a poem like How Could You, you just start to wonder how it all could end like this. And I feel like it's all that I can tell you about this poem and about this whole cycle, because as I've already told you, it's simply the continuation. But also let me remind you that the previous episode was about last two poems from the Treacherous Romeo cycle, and those last two titles were Broken Days and Broken Glass. And as you can see, it leads to the cycle, the broken chapter, because those broken little things lead to the whole period of time when just everything is broken. So that's all that I needed to add when it comes to the meaning of this cycle. And I don't know if I could say something more about how could you, but it's simply made of such little thoughts and things, and you just wonder how it all could happen like that. Yep. So maybe right now a few words about the second poem, which is Untitled, and as I've already mentioned, it's in my book, simply written as a poem with 3 dots in the title section, and it goes like that. No single man can be faithful, even angels. So yep, that's why it's unfair and untitled, because I felt like, how could I name such a poem? A very short one. So it's simply about this thought that maybe men were made like that and just nobody can be faithful. Even angels. I mean, someone who felt like a perfect match for you turned out to be, this kind of man, and that make you feel so sad, and you just start to feel like maybe this is what is natural to the mankind, and no single man can be faithful, because I've been there more than once, and that's why I started to wonder, maybe that's just human nature. I know it's a very sad kind of perspective and conclusion, but if you don't agree with me, then I can say that you're really lucky. Yep. So this episode looks like will be a very short one, but it looks like I've already told you all that I could say about these two. So I guess it's time to tell you now what to expect in the next episode. So we will continue the broken chapter. You will learn more about poems which are called I Must Be Enough and Who Am I For You Now. So yep, it's a very sad kind of story, and you get used to the sadness, and this is what this cycle is really about. And well, if you like to learn more about how could you, then you can always reach out to me. I can explain more then, because I don't feel like talking about this right now, but maybe you need to know more. Then if you ask me to tell you more, then I'd tell you something more. But right now, I guess that's all. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to check out my blog, Get Inspired, which is available on aliceagnes.com, and there's also a store, so if you like my poetry and my other books, then you can order some merch maybe. And there's also a Patreon account where you can find episodes which didn't come out yet. And of course, there's also a YouTube channel where you can find these poems I talk about. That's the end of ads. So that's all today. Until next time. Yep. Bye.